Good Monday afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this week's episodes with Mondays with Mason. I'm Mason Sapesky, your host here with you. Today's episode will be rather brief, largely because I'm on a kind of a strict time schedule today with my schoolwork and all that. Got most of it done. Just need to go back and do about an hour, so I'll be fine there. But sorry, I had to work just a strict time schedule. That's for sure. I was stuck between picking a topic for this one. This was actually a last-minute decision. I was wrestling between unveiling my NHL predictions on this episode, which that's not going to be the topic. I am going to do a video on that. That'll probably be tomorrow, or it has to be tomorrow because the NHL starts tomorrow at 5:30 with the Predators and the Lightning. So I will be doing that tomorrow. That will be up tomorrow along with my Week 5 recap for the NFL. So yeah, look forward to those videos tomorrow. That's for sure. But for today, this is going to be a rather brief video because, again, time is worse today for me than it will be tomorrow. So we're going to keep this rather brief. And I'm just going to discuss the MLB postseason so far. We're going to look into that a little bit today. So yeah, that's our topic for today, the MLB postseason so far. By the way, too, I have some really good news. All of our videos up until yesterday have been posted. The backlog of the videos is officially now over. So last week's Mondays with Mason, all the Steelers game day pregame and postgame shows, all the recaps, all the predictions, everything from this past week should be up now. If you want to tune into that, I highly recommend you do. For sure, the Steelers game yesterday was awesome. As you probably could tell, I didn't wear a jersey today because I had my Steelers shirt on, and I wanted to wear that instead of my jersey. So, for sure, celebrating the Steelers' victory. Great game yesterday. So, yeah, awesome time. Anyway, though, now let's move into baseball. Let's talk about last week, the wild card. And this was such an interesting wild card round, to say the least. How about the sweeps? We saw a lot of brooms this week. Every series, and you'll probably hear me say this multiple times throughout the show, but every series was a sweep in the LDS. Or not the LDS, I'm sorry, the AL and NL wildcards. And so far, we actually only have one series that's even, actually now, that's not 0-0, and we'll get into that in a couple minutes. But anyway, though, let's start with the AL wildcard round. That's for sure. We're going to start off with the Texas-Tampa Bay series. This series was probably one of the most lopsided ones I've seen in quite some time. The Rangers just dominated, and I was surprised by this. Tampa Bay, they had that furious start. They were very good at the beginning, looked strong as always early, and then they just collapsed. They blew the division lead, and now they are out of the postseason as a wild card. So it'll definitely be an interesting offseason in Tampa to see what happens with them this offseason. That's for sure. I'm definitely interested to see there what happens. But Texas they took control. I'm eager to see what happens in terms of that ALDS too, which we'll get to in a couple minutes. But Texas, they looked great last week, and they now move on to Baltimore to take on the Orioles. Finally, now we move on to the other ALDS series, which is the Toronto Blue Jays and the Minnesota Twins. That's for sure. That was also lopsided, too. I was shocked by the outcome of that series. Twins typically do horrible in the postseason, so I was kind of shocked by that. They won that series 2-0. Toronto has a lot of work to do. I was shocked they even made the playoffs. I didn't even predict this team to be a playoff team, and the way they played, they shouldn't have been a playoff team. I think Seattle would have played much better, to be honest with you, against these Twins. But anyway, though, it is what it is. The past is in the past. Twins are now dancing on to the ALDS, and they're looking really good. I mean, that AL Central was a very weak division, probably the weakest in baseball. But yeah, the Twins, they're doing great, so keep an eye on them. Now we're going to move on to the ALDS. As you know, I'm going to do conference by conference first, so then we'll bounce back to the NL. We'll bounce over to the NL next. For the ALDS so far, the Texas Rangers lead the Baltimore Orioles 2-0 in the series. Look, I kind of knew Baltimore wasn't going to go far this postseason. They're lucky I picked them in the ALDS, and I picked Tampa Bay to lose to Baltimore, not Texas. But I'm not shocked at all that Baltimore's losing to Texas. I told you guys, this team, they overperformed. They're still young, and they lack postseason experience. I knew darn well this was not meant to be a World Series team. I give them a lot of credit for what they've done. It's been a great ride for the Orioles and the Orioles fans. However, I just knew it wasn't meant to be this year. This Rangers team is just too much postseason experience. Obviously, it's not together, but the guys individually themselves, they know what it's like. Semien, Seager, Bochy, all the offseason additions. Obviously, DeGrom, he's not healthy, but he could obviously provide some advice to them. So, Texas, yeah, they kind of have the edge, that's for sure. Baltimore, you're going to win a World Series within the next 4 or 5 years. It's just not meant to be this year. So, you guys have a bright future. It's just way too early for them, you guys. Down now to Minnesota and Houston. This series is the only one even. It's 1-1 series. They head back to Minneapolis tomorrow to play those games in Minnesota. Twins are looking good this postseason. I mean, Carlos Correa has done real good this postseason. This team's actually not that bad, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised if they come through and upset the Astros and set up Rangers Twins, the ALCS that we all predicted. So that wouldn't be shocking either. Houston's not playing bad. They just had one bad night, but you cannot have that. You need to go up 2-0 at home. So they're in a tough place right now, the Astros, which is good because I kind of want to see the Twins win this. But anyway, now we're going to move on to the NL side now, where we've had a couple interesting series. First off, we're going to start in Philly. Phillies defeated the Marlins 2-0. First game was like 4-1. Second game was 7-1. I knew Philly was just too good for Miami, and the series showed it. And here they are. They're now in the NLDS, which we'll get to in a couple minutes. They actually play tonight at 6:07. So go Phils. So yeah, the Phillies won 2-0. Miami, they kind of reminded me, if you put basketball and football, if you're a fan of, or baseball and football, if you're a fan of both, they kind of reminded me of last year's Seahawks. The team that nobody expected to be good, they came through, their coaching propelled them, they were good, they barely got in the playoffs, and then they get in the playoffs and get destroyed. That's kind of what the Miami Marlins of this year were like. It was good. Yes, it was good to see them in the playoffs. Yes, it was good to see them be competitive. But we all knew this team had a long way to go. They still have a lot of sacrifices to make in the future, but they're going to be around for a long time. So give Skip Schumacher a lot of credit. What him and Kim Nig, or NG, I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm sorry, Kim. But I think they have something very special building there in Miami, but yeah, it just wasn't meant to be this year. As for Philly, the machine heads to Atlanta to take on the Braves. Next up, this was a shocker to me. This was the 6-3 upset that I didn't predict that happened. I picked the other one, the Minnesota one, and I didn't pick this one, and I kind of regret it, to be honest. But the Diamondbacks beating the Brewers 2-0. This shocked me because the Brewers typically own the Diamondbacks in Milwaukee. What happened, Brewers? I'll tell you what happened. You're just not that good. I don't like the Brewers. I'll just be honest. I am a Pirates fan and I'm a Cubs fan. I am not a Milwaukee Brewers fan, obviously. So this kind of made me happy, but I did pick Milwaukee. And now, obviously, Milwaukee heads into long off season which will be largely defined by Craig Counsell, whether he stays, retires, or leaves. The one thing I do like about the Brewers is Craig Counsell. He's one of my favorite managers in the game. Personally, I think he'll take that Mets job and become the new manager of the New York Mets. And if he leaves, then they face a rough offseason with Corbin Burns. What's the shortstop's name? I can't believe the shortstop. He's really good for the Brewers. I'm sorry, I forget his name. I don't follow the Brewers much. But he might leave, Burns might leave, so it's definitely interesting, that's for sure. Sorry, I yawn, obviously. But times are changing in the NL Central, it feels like. It feels like now the tops of this division are the Reds. Close seconds, the Pirates. Third, I would say, is the Brewers. If they lose Counsell, the shortstop, and Burns all in 1 year, I think that drops you from first to third. Brewers at third, Cubs at 4, Cardinals at 5. This is such a competitive division, and you can all make the case that they can be good. However, just crazy times we live in this NL Central, so I think it's one of the better divisions and more even divisions in baseball going into 2024, to be honest. But Brewers have a lot of decisions and sacrifices to make this offseason, so it's kind of good, though, in a way, since I'm a Cubs and a Pirates fan, so... And I don't mind the Reds either. I'm not a Brewers and I'm not a Cardinals person, so I wouldn't mind seeing those two at the bottom of the division, but yeah, it's going to be a long offseason in Milwaukee. As for Arizona, they head to LA to take on the Dodgers in what's to be an interesting one. Congratulations to them, going from 50-some wins in 2021 to the 84 I think they got this year to make the playoffs. Corbin Carroll, you're the man. This team is good. They're going to be around for a while, so thank goodness. Rebuilding works. Big spending doesn't. Take that, Mets, Yankees, Cardinals, Padres. I can't believe all 4 of those big spenders missed the playoffs this year, so will be interesting to see what happens to them next year. So kind of doesn't feel, it doesn't feel the same, though, without them. I will say that, so put it at that. Anyway, now on to the NLDS. There's 2 games tonight. The first one, 6:07, it's the Phillies and the Braves. The Phillies won 3-0 on Saturday night. Put the Braves in a little bit of a hole. If the Phillies win tonight, the series is basically over, I believe, because all they need is one more win in... Oh, gosh, I'm so tired. I woke up today for some random reason at 4 a.m., so that probably explains my yawning. But anyway, though, Phillies, if they win tonight, they go up 2-0, and then they go back to Philly. It's over at that point, I think. So, yeah, it'll definitely be interesting. I think that Philly's very good. They're obviously up 1-0 in this series. I predicted Philly over Atlanta in this series, and I'm holding that because it's almost a sure thing, I think, at this point. Now, don't take it from me because I've been so wrong on so many of these series and stuff, so... Don't take a word from me, but I kind of think Philly's going to win, to be honest, and that's a good thing, so keep it at that. Anyway, now we're going to move on to the Diamondbacks-Dodgers series, because this was interesting. The Diamondbacks rocked Clayton Kershaw Saturday night. They won the game 11-2. If they can destroy Kershaw and keep doing this, they're going to be a threat to the Braves or the Phillies. Keep an eye out on these Diamondbacks. They're a feisty team. And I was just thinking before I was going to bed, reading that score and all that, my dad and I, obviously, we do our away trips, and you obviously see those videos. This year's away trip was to Oakland, California, and Phoenix, Arizona. Which those videos are up, and you can definitely watch those. I highly recommend you do. They're from August, so if you want to, go back and look for the August ones. So yeah, I hope you watch those. For sure, they're very good, so keep an eye out for those. But never has a team that my dad and I have visited their ballpark for an away trip that year ever made the World Series. Now, we've had some that made the postseason, like last year was Atlanta, they made the postseason. Chicago White Sox in 2021 made the postseason. 2020, nothing. 2019, Rockies didn't. 2018, the Astros made the postseason. 2017 was Reds, they didn't. 16 was Orioles, they did. 15 was Nationals, I think Nationals did. And 14 was Indians. I don't know about them. I think they did, but I'm not 100% positive, so... Most times we do see postseason teams, and I'm not spoiling next year's either, by the way. You'll find that out next year when we take our trip, so keep an eye out for that. But anyway, So, yeah, definitely. I mean, we've never seen a team stadium the year they made the World Series. If the Diamondbacks win just 6 more games, because it's 2 plus 4, 6 more games, then they're going to the series. So keep an eye out for that. That's for sure. They look good. And if they win tonight in LA, the series is over, I think, because it goes back to Arizona. And there's no way they're going to lose 2 in Arizona, I think. So brace yourselves, because this could be wild. This could be chaotic, and this could be interesting. Here's what I predict will happen, though, the rest of the way. This is where I'm going to have to wrap up, though. But here's what I predict will happen. The ALCS will be the Texas Rangers against the Minnesota Twins. The NLCS will be the Phillies against the Diamondbacks. And in the World Series, it'll be the Diamondbacks against the Diamondbacks against the Rangers. And the Diamondbacks will win. So I have a lot on the Diamondbacks at this point, but hopefully they can pull it off. I mean, Phoenix metropolitan area, they haven't won a championship in forever. I don't remember ever seeing a championship go to the desert. It'll be crazy to see the parades all over Phoenix, downtown Phoenix. We went there this summer, obviously. As I've said, it's one of the most beautiful places I've seen. Arizona is a very nice state. I highly recommend visiting it. I have relatives out there, so definitely hope Diamondbacks do good this postseason. That's for sure. I'm rooting for Philly because I want to see my friend win a World Series, especially after last year they lost, but I wouldn't mind the Diamondbacks either. I just know Houston. I really don't want to see Texas. I wouldn't mind Baltimore, but they're not going to win it. I would love Minnesota, but I don't think they were going to win it. I would love Atlanta. I would be so happy if Philly wins. I would be happy if the Diamondbacks win. I predicted the Dodgers, so I'd be happy if they win, but wouldn't be my first choice. But anyway, yeah, hopefully it's either Phillies, maybe Diamondbacks. So that's what I'm hoping for the rest of the way. I did read a tweet after the Brewers lost. Kind of jinxed the rest of this postseason, but it just said 2018 Dodgers beat the Brewers, knocked them out of the playoffs, went to the World Series and lost. 2019, Nationals knocked the Brewers out of the playoffs, went to the World Series and won. 2020, Dodgers knocked the Brewers out, went to the series and won. 2021, Braves knocked the Brewers out, went to the series and won. You see where we're headed? 2022, no Brewers playoffs. 2023, Diamondbacks knocked the Brewers out, went to the series. Will they go to the series? I believe it or not predicted the same thing. That with the Dodgers knocking the Brewers out, though, and the Dodgers winning the series. Will the prediction trend hold for these Diamondbacks? We'll have to see, but it's going to be interesting. Keep an eye out, that's for sure. It would be so impressive and great for baseball if the Diamondbacks win this World Series. For sure. Anyway, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Mondays with Mason. Just a couple quick things before I end. I just want to first off say happy Christopher Columbus Day to everybody who celebrates. And happy Thanksgiving too. If we have any viewers up in Canada, I don't think we do, but in case we do, and you're watching from Canada, happy Thanksgiving. Hope you guys are having a great day up there, enjoying turkey furs and a Canadian turkey. So happy Thanksgiving to Canada. And just one more thing, I just want to say that I just want to comment real quick on the situation in Israel. I just wanted to say, first things first, my heart goes out to all those impacted and all those who lost family members or missing family members, and to family members of all the deceased in this catastrophic attack, terrible, horrible attack in Israel. Hopefully sooner rather than later that this war can come to an end. We must stand up and protect Israel at all costs. They're our ally, so I stand with Israel 100%, and I hope nothing but the best for this beautiful country. So I'm just asking you all to please consider supporting Israel. please support them and everything, and God bless Israel. So hopefully they can resolve the situation over there peacefully, and I just want to say my thoughts and prayers are with all those affected by this horrible terroristic attack in Israel, and it's very sad times over there, so my thoughts and prayers and heart go out to them. So just pray for Israel. That's all I want to say. Anyway, though, that's all I have for this video today. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. I will see you tomorrow for my NHL predictions and my NFL Week 5 recap. Have a good one. Take care. Stay safe. Pray for Israel. And as always, peace. See you guys tomorrow.